Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you the second part of our Week 6 fantasy football starts and sits. We're here to help you decide who you should keep in your lineup, who you should kick out of your lineup, and who's going to break your heart if you don't. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right. Meow.
Hit that drop. Hello, welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football Podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We love to have fun. Hey, Week 6 is here. We're really excited. We really hope this week is going to be played. We really hope. But today we're giving you the second part of our start-sit questions for Sunday and Monday of Week 6 of the NFL season. We dropped our first part of it yesterday, so definitely check that out. We've also had waiver wires, so definitely take a look at that to see if anybody's been dropped. But then we had our starts of the week, streamers of the week, and fades of the week so far.
Yep.
What do you got
all that's down in the description. Make sure that you guys are subscribed and that you've clicked the bell so you're notified every time we upload the podcast. Things are changing quickly around here just because the way the league is having to adapt to postponements, cancellations, all that sort of stuff. So our schedule is going to be still 5 days a week, but it's changing as for like when we're determining who's going to start, that sort of stuff. It's all different every week. So make sure that you are subscribed so that you get notified of that. We're moving on to Week 6 here. As always, like I always say, run and check your waiver wire. Make sure nobody's been dropped who you need to pick up. I keep hearing of crazy stuff getting dropped, and you got to be there to pick it up, guys. So make sure you're doing that. Let us know any of your start-sit questions down in the comments below. We are always asking. Do you need assistance? And we are happy to provide that. And as well, tell us if you know what that's from.
Yes, please.
That might be a little too obscure. I don't know. It's a very small soundbite there. Let's dive in head first into the shallow end and get moving on this, Justin. Who's our first matchup? We've got Detroit at Jacksonville here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit. All right.
Okay.
And we'll knock this thing out. Matt Stafford is a start. He's possibly going to be a QB1 guy this week for you. I'm not saying the QB1. I'm saying a QB1, like a top 12 guy, right?
Okay.
So he is one of those guys that if you're playing using the strategy that we've been talking about, he's one of those guys that you would want to kind of, if he's fallen to the waiver wire, you want to go ahead and throw him into your, your streaming spot that you're keeping now. Another start that I've got is Kenny Golladay. I think that this is going to be a good week for him, a good week back here. Marvin Jones is a flex only play. He is falling apart until he proves it. I don't think you can do much more with him. TJ Hawkinson is a start. He could be a top 12 guy as well. That is entirely possible this week. He's kind of coming on and he's been impressive somewhat lately. So that might have something to do with what's going on with Marvin Jones, if you really think about it.
It could, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't looked at his average depth of target to see what's going on there, but I'm guessing that it's significantly reduced from what it's been over the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, because he had been a deep ball threat.
Yeah.
Get up and get it guy. So yeah.
All right. What do you got on Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, our guy, our buddy, Tyreek Minshew. Fire him up. Yeah. Fire him up against this defense. And like Kyle said this week, this could be the matchup that finally ends Matt's number 2 pencil Patricia's coaching tenure with the Detroit Lions.
He's pretty close to one of those guys. Yeah, he's pretty close to being the worst. But he's not that until the other guy who actually is the worst gets fired. And then if Matt Patricia's still hanging around, then we still have another punching bag, just a little bit furrier.
We are somewhat projecting 2 fires after this weekend, so we'll see. Don't hold us to it then. But all right, James Robinson is a weekly start, set it and forget it type starter now. Just do it. You're happy. You're good to go.
Yeah, I think this is a bounce back week for him. Bounce back week.
Yeah. Yep. DJ Chark, he could be out week 6 with the ankle injury, so that's why I have just a watch and see type of start. So definitely keep your eye on his practice participation. So if that's the case, Laviska Shenault, fire him up. But guess what? He's also hampered by a hamstring injury, and he has been the last couple of weeks, but he's been playing through it. And if he's playing, he's kind of turned into the number one weapon, I would say, on this team. I wouldn't just say wide receiver. It's more of a weapon.
Yep.
So up next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus my Indianapolis Colts. Hit me with the Bengals, Kyle.
All right. So I'm going to sit Joe Burrow this week. He has been hanging around QB1, QB2 territory, the back end there of QB1. So this is not the week for him to get out there and get it done. He didn't do it against Baltimore, and this defense is tougher. Joe Mixon, I am going to say sit him or put him in your flex at best. This is not a good matchup, and he's going to go back to, I think, being north of RB 30 at best here. So I don't see this one being a good week for him. I would say fire up Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins can be a flex, but I wouldn't put T. Higgins into my wide receiver crew. Tyler Boyd seems to just get it done every week. The one caveat I've got here is that we kind of think AJ Green wants out. And we also think that Cincinnati's kind of on board with that. So one thing you might be a little bit concerned with is that they might force the ball to AJ Green repeatedly during this game to try to up his value over the next couple of weeks so that they can sell him or trade him rather. Before sell him is like a really derogatory way to say things. Yeah. It has implications there. But so that they can trade him and get something out of him over the next couple of weeks, because the trade deadline's just over 2 weeks away. And, AJ Green's not long for the Bengals in my opinion. All right, so let's move on here to your Colts. What do you got for them?
Jonathan Taylor, fire him up as a start. I've been impressive, then I've been a little unimpressive in some of his decisions on the field. His vision's not quite where I thought it would be. I mean, I get it. He's a rookie, but I mean, you rush for 6,000 yards in 3 years. I would thought his vision would be a little different. This is one thing. He's seen a 8-man box 27% of the time, which is fifth most in the NFL. So that could be a reason as to why those numbers aren't quite there. They need to get the rushing numbers up. T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver 3 flex if needed. The targets, finally came back last week, but he needs to get into the end zone on a deep pass soon to just show to see if he still has it, man.
I think he's got. I don't think it's him. I think it's Rivers.
They just haven't been able to connect down the field. Like they've tried a couple times and it's just not there. So it's like hard to see if it's okay. Is he really just bouncing it there, or is he just lofting it up there as high as possible just to get it as far down the field as possible and people are getting back underneath it? So that's all I have, because we loved Mo Alley Cox a few weeks ago whenever it was
the
just
guys
him.
are back.
Yep. But now it's Jack Doyle and Trey Burton are back. He only saw 3 targets in the last 2 weeks. So sadly, he's looking like a sit and a droppable player.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's becoming a droppable player for those reasons.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to another matchup here. We've got Chicago at Carolina. I'll take Chicago here. Not much to take, really, truly, right? Got to start David Montgomery. I'm not expecting a whole lot. One caveat is that while we're recording this, guys, we don't know where Le'Veon Bell has decided to go. This week is probably not a week he's going to affect anything. But if he has ended up in Chicago after we've recorded this, downgrade David Montgomery a whole lot, because Le'Veon Bell fits what Nagy wants more than Montgomery does. Definitely fire up Allen Robinson. You got to start that dude. He's just money. This is not a great matchup, but it doesn't matter. Allen Robinson's matchup proof, man. He really truly is. He's QB proof. He's matchup proof. He's just proof. Right? Maybe that should be his nickname. Allen Robinson is the proof.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You should write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Okay. I'll write that down here. I'm going to type that in right now, actually, while you move on here to Carolina for us and tell us what's up.
Yeah, because you're not always going to have that pop in your head all the time like that. That was glorious. I do like it. Alrighty, desperation move. If
I just want to say, hey, what is it? Yeah. I just had an idea.
Whammy.
Yep.
Well, if you're desperate at QB, I mean, I guess you could fire at Teddy Bridgewater, because they're going to probably throw it. They're going to have to throw it a good amount, but that's only if you're desperate. But Mike Davis. I mean, looks like Christian McCaffrey is going to be out at least one more week, so Davis would be a fine running back 2 or flex play, even against this defense. And then I'm going to start Robbie Anderson. He's putting up near wide receiver 1 target volume. Just needs to catch a couple more tight ends to vault him up into that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 type category for the rest of the season. But he's looking more and more like, Teddy Bridgewater's favorite target right now.
Yeah.
Even more than DJ Moore. And you didn't hear me say his name until just now because I actually had him down as a sit against this defense.
Yep. I don't think it's a good chance. Like I've said before, this week specifically, Chicago has not allowed more than 2 wide receiver touchdowns in a game in over 30 weeks, guys. That is not something you want to go against. Yep. Especially if you don't have Aaron Rodgers as your QB. Him, Pat Mahomes, those are the guys that are going to get it done eventually. All right, so let's move on here to the Jets, who are versus Miami. It's not the Jets themselves. It's Adam Gase and the Adam Gase effect. All right, so Le'Veon Bell would be a start, except that they cut him. There you go. So Le'Veon Bell is gone, which makes LaMichael Pirine a player in multi-flex only. That's about it. I don't see him doing a whole lot more than Le'Veon Bell could have. So that's it. And then Jamison Crowder. He's a flex only. I wouldn't imagine he's going to get into wide receiver 3 territory against this defense. Miami has actually been astonishingly stingy on the passing game. So I think that this is not the greatest week for the Jets, which that's every week. So they're kind of used to that at this point. All right, let's move on here to the Dolphins. What do you got on the Dolphins against the Jets?
I think this is a game where Miami might try to run up the score a little bit. Adam Gase's former team, so it's a perfect matchup for this. And I think this is another another coach tenure killer. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is a great streaming quarterback right now. I mean, heck, his last 3 weeks he finished as the 8th best, 10th best, and 3rd best last week. So fire him up. Myles Gaskin is a guy that's turned into running back 2 value right now, and he's getting the volume. Jordan Howard was a healthy scratch last week, folks. So definitely, if for some reason you can buy low on Myles Gaskin, go ahead and still try to do that.
Again, caveat, we don't know if Bell is there. We
Correct.
don't know if Le'Veon Bell, at the time that we're recording this, we don't know if he's there. If that's the case, then you can play Gaskin this week, but don't imagine much after that.
Yeah, I was going to say they would probably at least have to sit him at least one more week because of the COVID rules and everything like that. So at least it would be at least this week.
Well, no, he wouldn't have to because of COVID rules, I think, because he's having to regularly get tested still.
Is he?
Right? Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think he is. Yeah. And so he has to just pass the tests at the location, I think.
Okay.
So
I got you. But up next on this one, I got Devontae Parker. I mean, he's a set it and forget it type wide receiver. Preston Williams, he had a great game last week. So if you've hit some bye weeks or something like that, he's a decent wide receiver 3/flex against the Jets. That's once again, I think this is going to be a high scoring game on one side of the field. And then Mike Gesicki is he's a boomer bust tight end right now, truthfully, but that seems like a lot of tight ends. So if you have them, start them.
Yeah. I just want to mention that, we've heard a lot of noise about Ryan Fitzpatrick like being replaced by Tua. And it's like, why?
Why?
They kind of got shut up because they beat the pants off the 49ers last week, right?
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, he's finished 8th, 10th, and 3rd in fantasy football. And while we recognize fantasy football is not, normal football, obviously the dude's throwing a lot of downfield passes, and he's getting a lot of TDs. He's generating value that Tua is probably not ready to generate. All right, so let's move on here. We've got Denver versus New England is the last one for this episode. I'll take Denver here. Looks like Drew Lock is going to be back possibly, but he is not startable, not at all. And then you've got Melvin Gordon, who is he's not been suspended yet that we know of, but the suspension is coming. Fangio has indicated that he is undecided as to what he's going to do, but the league is probably going to demand that he gets at least 2 to 3 weeks on the bench. Phillip Rivers then gets some flex appeal.
Lindsay.
I'm sorry, I said Phillip Rivers, right? Didn't I? Phillip Lindsay. I don't know. They look the same. They look the same.
Slight difference in athleticism, just slight.
Height, athleticism, skin color, age, number of children.
Throw like that.
I bet he could. It's the Uncle Rico throw.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, Phillip Lindsay, Uncle Rico. He's almost as old as him. All right, so look, Phillip Lindsay. He's got flex appeal if Gordon is benched for his DUI. He's been practicing. He was practicing in full the week before they got postponed. Tim Patrick, I've got as a start here. He might be the wide receiver 1 on this team. I think I've heard some noise that Jerry Jeudy is possibly coming back. I don't know what's going on there exactly. But we think that Tim Patrick is phenomenal. We like him better if Drew Lock is not the QB, because Brett Ripien actually has zeroed in on Tim Patrick. It's very obvious. And then Noah Fant is look, if he plays, then you could start him, but he's really, like, right now, he's not getting a full practice as of the time that we are talking. But got to keep your eye on him throughout the remainder of the week, and you'll see what's going on there potentially. Okay. So we've got New England as our last team. What do you got on there, Justin?
Cam Newton should be back, so go ahead and fire it up for him. And Cam loves to run those QB delays right into the end zone, so it's definitely a good matchup for him. James White is a start only in PPR. He's still getting those targets.
Yes. This is a tough run defense.
It is, and that's why I think you might see a little bit more James White just for his pass catching ability out of the backfield. Julian Edelman, I put down here as a start, Kyle, and I just, now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't know if I can, because sorry, I got a whole thing going on in my head right now where it's just like week 4, I caught some of that game, and what I caught was some of the worst football I've ever seen Julian Edelman play.
That's true. I mean, he looked a little less he looked a lot less like a former quarterback, college quarterback.
I mean, maybe he's,
I don't know how much time he's been in the gym lately. I'm not sure.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's off the TB12 supplements.
Maybe
he needs the immunity pills.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Hashtag Tuami. Yeah. I think he just needs to, get back in there, get back to being that high motor guy, that gym rat guy that we're used to seeing. So Damiere Byrd is a guy to kind of keep an eye on. I'm not saying start or anything, but just keep an eye on usage. He led the Patriots in routes ran, targets, and catches in week 4. And you just heard me do my thing against Julian Edelman. So N'Keal Harry's a sit, drop, all that good stuff. So somebody has to catch some balls.
This passing game isn't good. This whole offense is not very good. I would say that Damian Harris is probably one of the only things worth owning on that team other than Cam at this point. I think that it's too hit or miss with James White. And he can't stay healthy. You just can't stay healthy anymore.
Yeah, I take a look at Damian Harris if he's available in your league because of that postponement that they had last week. Take a look at it. It's just his usage was a little alarming just because the snaps he did play, he did get the carry. Is just like, how consistent is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean it's a New England running game, right? So that's kind of tough to predict. But I think that he and Cam are what Belichick is wanting to do. I think he sees what the Shanahan tree has kind of been doing and how the offenses are attacking the modern defenses, and they figured out, okay, what we need to do is more running and more option and more of what Lamar Jackson's been doing and that sort of stuff,
Right.
And so I think that they went and got Cam for the purpose of changing things, and I think Damian Harris fits that mold a little bit better than the other guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We've got one more episode of Starts and Sits that will come out tomorrow. I'm going to throw the waiver wire episode as well as the Starts and Sits from yesterday on the screen right now. And so make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe as well and click the bell so you're notified every time we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the internet. We appreciate you watching us, and we appreciate you being a fan of the Upside. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
See you guys.